Just to wake up in the morning to the quiet of the cove and hear Aunt Bessie talking to herself, and to hear poor Uncle John mumbling wishes to old Nell. It made me feel like everything was fine. I was born down by the water, it's here I'm gonna stay. I've searched for all the reasons why I should go away, but I haven't got the thirst for all those modern day toys, so I'll just take my chances with those saltwater joys. Following a little brook as it trickles to the shore in the autumn when the trees are flaming red, kicking leaves that fall around me, watching sunset paint the hills. It's all I'll ever need to feel at home. This island that we cling to has been handed down with pride by folks who fought to live here, taking hardships all in stride. So I'll compliment her beauty, hold on to my goodbyes, and I'll stay and take my chances with those saltwater joys. How can I leave those mornings with the sunrise on the cove and the gulls like flies surrounding Clayton's wharf? Platter's Island wrapped in rainbow in the evening after fog. The ocean smells our perfume to my soul. Some go to where the buildings reach to meet the clouds, where warm and gentle people turn to swarming faceless crowds. So I'll do without their riches, glamour and the noise, and I'll stay and take my chances with those saltwater toys. Some go to where the buildings reach to meet the clouds, where warm and gentle people turn to swarming faceless crowds. So I'll do without their riches, glamour and the noise, and I'll stay and take my chances with those saltwater joys.
Good evening and welcome to This Week in Review. Tonight our stories are Breakfast with Santa, Town Council Report, and Christmas lights around town. Please stay tuned for these stories after this. Try your luck and play TV Bingo, sponsored by the grad class. Cards are 6 for $5 and can be bought from any student in the grad class or in most stores around town. Breakfast with Santa was held on Saturday, December 23rd. It ran from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the fire hall. People of all ages came out to be served their breakfast by the firemen and brunettes and chant with Santa before his big night.
I figured it was busy this time, so I waited.
During the week before Christmas, I went out around town and took some video of the Christmas lights and decorations. Hope you enjoyed the scenes.
It's the most wonderful time of the year, with the kids jingle belling and everyone telling you be of good cheer. It's the most wonderful time of the year. It's the happiest season of all, with those holiday greetings and gay happy meetings when friends come to call. It's the happiest season of all. There'll be parties for hosting, marshmallows for toasting, and caroling out in the snow. There'll be scary ghost stories and tales of the glories of Christmases long, long ago. It's the most wonderful time of the year. There'll be much mistletoeing and hearts will be glowing when loved ones are near. It's the most wonderful time of the year. those stories and tales of the glories of Christmases long, long ago. It's the most wonderful time of the year. There'll be much mistletoeing and hearts will be glowing when loved ones are near.
Mayor George Reed dropped by with his town council report.
I guess by the time you hear this report, I think Santa Claus will have been here and gone. I hope he was good to you. And we at council are going to be good to you also, because we're not going to raise any taxes this year. Having said that, I'm going to give the report of the last couple of council meetings we've had. Well, the National Marine Conservation Area, that's progressing slowly in the right direction, I think. We had a letter from the federal minister concerning our request for an area to be set up on the south coast there, and the minister has ordered that contact be made with the provincial government, and that they will be contacting us in the future now to get some studies done. We've had some money here for the community enhancement program, as you've seen going around town. They've been cutting all the alders off in certain areas. They're trying to make it easier for people to travel, especially going around turns and that. If there's any area that you think that needs to be done, you should phone the office, let Blaine know about these areas, and he'll look at them. Because we have been given another $7,000 from the provincial government to carry out a greater program. You've also noticed that the community office building has been repaired. That's completed now, and all the exterior is done for this year. I think we're going to do a few things next year, like put up the flag poles and that, but the repair work has been completed, and I must say the workers did a very commendable job. The building, it was something that had to be done, and if not done within another few years, it probably would have been beyond repair. Since I last talked to you, the firemen, 12 firemen have had their first aid training completed. So now out of 32 firemen, we only have four that doesn't have the training, and they are going to get it in the very near future. There's also been, I think, some concern about the ambulance in Burjo. The fact that I think there was some concern that there would be no ambulance here when one would have to go to Corner Brook because they were short of personnel or something like that. Anyhow, the fire department has told us that they will respond to any emergencies that's requested to do so by the nurse at the Calder Center, if such an occasion arises, that they will certainly respond to any requests. We are in the process of updating and reviewing the disaster plan for the town, and that will be looked at in the new year. If you've been going to the garbage dump lately, you'll notice that our incinerator needs some repair, and that will also be looked at in the new year. probably noticed that some work was being done on the outlet to Shag Pond. The water was building up very high around the pond there, and it was affecting some residents. We got some work done on it, and I think it solved the problem, I think, to a point, because the water dropped at least a foot in that pond. The town manager is also trying to get us on the port of call for the cruise ships that one of the ones that have been going into Ramia and the ones that have been going into France over the last number of years. We're trying to get on a port of call for these cruise ships. I mentioned the budget right on the beginning there, and the budget has been approved by council at our last meeting. You've heard on the news, of course, where a number of towns have had an increase in their taxes, not so much an increase in their mill rate, but increases in their taxes because their assessment went up. It just so happened that in our town, the assessment was done, but it remained pretty much the same as last year. The difference in our tax base between last year and this year is approximately $5,000. So we're basically in the same position this year as we were last year. In other words, the property has not increased in value or decreased in value very much. As a result, we did a budget that had $930,742. It's a balanced budget, doing, of course, what we have to do with all of our expenditures. We're showing a surplus of around $26,000. That's it's called contribution to capital, which is really our surplus. In other words, that's our cushion we have there in case we need some money throughout the year to do things which are not foreseen in the budget. So the town is in very good shape. Like I said last year, this is probably one of the better towns on the Highland for paying their bills, and doesn't seem to be. We don't have to keep after people to get their bills paid up. They come in and make arrangements to get it done, and throughout the year. So you should be very, very pleased that the town, even though we have no employer in the town, the people are still paying their bills as they always did in this town. Birds have always been like that, and I think it will continue to be. So you should compliment yourself on that aspect of living, for sure. There's another big problem we have. I suppose not a big problem, but it's brought up at council again. That there are roaming dogs around. We don't have a dog catcher at the moment on council, but the council laws do forbid the roaming of dogs. So if you got a dog, you have to have it contained. So for those people whose dog is out there roaming around, please do something about it, or else council will probably have to get the RCMP or employ someone to catch these dogs. And of course, if they get caught, you're going to get fined. The school zone. You probably noticed, and I should have said this back in September. I don't know if I did or not, but you noticed that on the road, right by the town garage, and right up there by the B&B, there's two signs on the road there marking school zone. Now in that school zone, my understanding is that you're not allowed to go over 15 kilometers per hour. 15 kilometers per hour for the school zone. Now I know some people are going there much faster than that, and I would include myself in that category. But please try to slow down within that school zone to 15 kilometers per hour. particularly during the weekdays from Monday to Friday when the school is in sessions. You will also notice that once you get up there by the school, going in from the BB, up there by the BB area, up there, you go in through that way. That's the only way you're allowed in. It's a one-way system. 2 ways until you get to Dr. Roxon's place there. You can go in and come out. But once you pass Dr. Roxon's, get up by the school, you have to keep going and you come out one way. From my vantage point up on the hill where I live there, I do see people going from time to time going in down by the drugstore. You're not allowed to go in that way. It's a one-way street there. The report for the water treatment plant has been completed. Phase 2 is completed, and there's the report here. You can see the first one was of equal size, and basically, I'll just say a few things about the report. They found what we got up there is not much of it can be used. Probably basically it's the building that has any value to it. The equipment in there would have to be all replaced. And what they're proposing is that we go with a similar system. And what I mean by that is it's the ozonation system of treating water is what this company is still proposing. It's the best way to treat our type of water. So our next our next step now is to get a meeting with the provincial minister dealing with this project and submit to him the type of project that we want here for Birdsville, the one that's been recommended here. And so hopefully in the coming year, very, very early in the coming year, in January, probably about the latter part of January, I'm going to try to meet with the Minister Jack Burns to get a project started for a new water system, hopefully to have it started by early spring, and hopefully to have it running in the taps within a year. I would not put any deadline on that. I did say a year, but you know what how slow government works on things like this. So, but we will be trying and the best we can to get a water system in Birdsville as soon as possible. I have to say something about the water system besides that we're going to try to get this thing restarted and that is the amount of water that we're using. We've acknowledged, of course, that there are certain areas in town or certain people, because of the depth that they have their water lines buried, that they have to run their water through the winter months. But there's a big difference between running your water and just really, really running your water. I mean, the water can be turned on and dribbled into an outlet, or it can be put on to just dribble occasionally at intervals. Probably every 2 or 3 minutes, water would start up and flow for a period of time. But the amount of water that we're using is that it seems like to me that a lot of people are showing absolutely no concern about the waste of water. Now, the water that you're using is treated water. It's not just water that's coming out of a long pond. It's in the raw state. It's treated water. And it costs us a fair amount of money to treat water. Right now, for example, we're using 72 pounds of chlorine per day to treat our water. We should be using 12 pounds. So that shows how much water we're using. The Canadian standard for water usage is 125 gallons per person per day. I want to repeat that. It's 125 gallons per person per day. Right now, we are using 600 gallons per person per day. Now that's 5 times the amount of water that is Canadian standard to be using. The government knows this, of course, and they're very concerned with the amount of water that we're using here in Burgeo. Very, very concerned. They just don't want us to be using that much water because, like I said, it all has to be treated. The system that you put in has to be bigger in order to be able to supply that type of usage. So, for the people who are out there using water, running water, must run it, then, I mean, go and check the way that you're running it. Look at the way you're running it. See if you can slow down these taps. See if you can put a system in there that water will run every 5 minutes or so. And turn it on only when you need to turn it on because of frost, and turn it off as soon as the danger of freezing is over with. There are people in this town who turn that water on and leave it on for the whole year. They don't ever turn it off. I mean, you know, they're saying, oh, there's our water, I can do whatever I want with it. And I suppose that's true. There is no policeman going around checking what you are doing. But I mean, you have to be responsible citizens. I mean, you just can't go and waste the water as much as you want to, and the other guy is trying to conserve. I mean, you have to do your part in the system besides. I mean, the only answer to it, once you do get a new system that's going to cost much more to operate, then of course the only way to pay for a system would be increasing water rates in order to pay for it. For example, in Burgeo, you're paying, I think it's $192 per year for your usage of water. And in Ramia, I think they're paying about $340. Most places in Newfoundland, they're paying approximately $1 a day. But there will be no need to increase the water rates if the water usage was used sparingly, or probably even double the Canadian average. But in point like we got now, it's 5 times the Canadian average, and I don't think there's any excuse for it. I think there's a lot of people out there simply should sit down, think about the water problem, think about how they're using it, and do their bit to consume it, and yet, of course, not have a frozen line. Nobody wants a frozen water for the year. I would agree with that 100%. But there's ways for all of us to conserve on it. I would like to say that for all those men and women who are leaving our town, some have already left, some are leaving in January. I would wish you the best of luck. Be very, very careful on your jobs out of town. Take care that you don't hurt yourself, and come back and be back again in the spring. Very unfortunate you have to go, and I really do sympathize with all your families that's left behind. But make sure that you take care and have a good year. Well, of course, this is the Christmas season, so one thing make sure you don't do, and that is drink and drive. It'll be dangerous for you and dangerous for everyone else. So have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
This concludes our program for tonight. Please stay tuned afterwards for the Burgeo Academy Christmas concert that was held on December the 18th. Thank you for watching. Good night.